I'm having to hold this mic because it will not clip onto any of my clothing. It wasn't the most expensive, so. Hey YouTube, I'm Lucy and I am an actor, musician, a composer and also a content creator. If you've seen me on TikTok or Instagram doing Harry Potter impressions, types of singers, posting about my career as a theatre performer, you may know who I am. But if you don't, hello and welcome to my channel. I'm doing a little theatre Q&A today for you all. I asked over on Instagram for some questions, things that you'd like to know about the theatre industry, anything that you think would be useful information. And so I've got the questions here on my iPad and we're going to answer them. So let's do it. I won't be able to answer all of them just because I think the video will be too long, but I'm going to try and answer the ones that I think are the most relevant and helpful for everyone. So I really hope this video helps you if you are an aspiring performer or if you're someone already in the industry. Here we are, let's go. Okay, first question, how to get an agent. So you can do this one of two ways. You can either do it through drama school, where you train for 3 years, you do a showcase at the end of your third year or throughout your third year, and agents and potential casting directors come and see you and perform, and if they are interested they will arrange a meeting for you to meet, and then if they like you they'll sign with you. The second way that you can do it is by contacting agencies. If you get advice from either parents, teachers, or look at drama schools, look at graduates and see who they've been represented by. Sometimes they have younger performers, especially bigger agencies, they usually have like a very wide range of performers. Get a show reel together, get a headshot together, and you can basically send that off to those agencies, and they, if they're interested, they will reply and show their interest, maybe set up a meeting, and it's exactly the same way that it would be after drama school or during drama school. It's just obviously you've not had that training. And the same applies if you're a parent with a child actor. This is the best way to do it because obviously there's not a lot of training professionally for younger children other than Saturday schools, etc., which again can be really helpful, sending your child to a Saturday school or getting them singing lessons, acting lessons. They may have contacts and that may help you find the agency that are the best fit. Next question. Which drama school did you go to and what did you do after that? Very good question, thank you. So I trained at the Guildford School of Acting. I did the actor musicianship course, which was very new at the time, but it encompassed the training of basically the acting course and the musical theatre course with a little bit of music sprinkled in there. And it was brilliant because I didn't really know if I wanted to do acting, musical theatre, or music, and it kind of just gave me everything I needed. And half of the jobs that I've done so far in my career have been actor muso. So Footloose was actor musician. I played piano, clarinet and saxophone in that, and then I have just done last year Shakespeare in the Squares, where that was saxophone and singing in it, but also playing in a Shakespeare play. And after I went to drama school I moved to London. This was right before COVID though, so I moved for about 6 months. I got a teaching job, I was auditioning, and I booked Footloose about 2 months, 3 months after graduating. But then because of COVID, it got postponed. And so I moved back home, and then eventually we got to do it. And that's kind of when my career kind of started because of the break between. But I would say after graduating, being in London is definitely the best option to do if you can afford it, if you can get a job there and find somewhere to live. It's very expensive now. It has great connections. Lots of people live there who are in the industry, so people that are like-minded, and there's opportunities, there's classes, there are events and things like that, and most of the drama schools that you train at are in and around London. Mine was in Guildford, so a little bit further out, but great connection into London. Next question. What do you look for in a contract? Length, weekly routine, money, role, show, director, etc. Very good question, thank you. The first thing I would look for in the role is the length of the contract, the pay, and what I'm required to do and where I'm going to be. So for the length, knowing is it going to be worth it? For example, if it's like a 2 or 3 week contract, it's like a workshop, but it's really expensive to live in the place that I need to go to and it's not paid that much, then I would probably say no. But if it's like a long tour, for example, or like the role I've just done, which was on a cruise ship where I didn't have to pay for anything for 6-7 months, which was amazing because it meant I get to save up some money, I'd be looking out for those sort of things. I don't really find that director has anything to do with it. I feel like most of the directors I've worked with, I've never worked with before, so it's kind of all new experience. I don't really think there's any directors out there that I would say no to. There's definitely directors I would would love to work with, I kind of just take what job comes forward because, you know, you don't get a lot of choice a lot of the time. You get a lot of rejection. All of the jobs that I've had have been thankfully amazing and great experience, a real variety, have brought me so much joy, and they've all been so different, and I've met so many different people, and I've been to so many different places. So I feel like because of that, I just go, yep, let's do it. Let's just go and crack on with it and just enjoy it and just go for it, because you never know where you're going to be and what job's going to come up. I will just say though, as an add-on, from having done shows where I've been in one place and where I've toured, where I've been abroad, I would definitely say, I think out of all of them, I preferred touring because I like traveling. I like going to different places. I don't mind being in different places every week, as hard as it is. And also it means that friends and family can come and see you in those places that you perform in, because if you're in one place, not everyone can get to you. But being on a cruise ship again was amazing, but it's just nobody could come and see me because it was so far away and the flights were really expensive from the UK, so only family came and saw me. So I guess there's ups and downs with it, but you kind of make those sacrifices and you decide what's going to be the best option for you. Coffee break. Okay, next question. What's one thing that people think is easy to do on stage, but in reality is very hard? Oh, this is a really good question. I have to think about this. Let me think about it. Okay, this one is, for me, is a weird one. If you're in a show where, so for example, in theatre, most of the time, it's what we call the fourth wall, and you don't look at the audience, you don't interact with the audience. I've only had one job where I've done that. Actually, no, I've had 2 jobs, but most of the jobs that I've done have been like, you're in your own world, you don't interact with the audience until like right at the very end. The hardest thing I've done is actually having to look at the audience and having to engage with them. So I did this for when I did my Shakespeare show, and I found it so hard to concentrate on what I was saying and engage the audience and tell them what I was saying. But vice versa, I also find it really hard when I'm in a show not to look at the audience and not to kind of notice people, because I find that really off-putting for some reason. I think honestly, like, people might think that's a really easy thing to just block him out, but I find that really difficult. I think another big thing is just imposter syndrome. People probably watch a lot of performers in shows and they think, wow, like they must be so confident, they must really, really love what they do. And of course we do, but I don't think there's been any show where I've gone out there and not had some sort of doubt about myself and not had some sort of pre-show nervous flutter where I've been like, oh God, my voice isn't feeling good today. My voice isn't feeling very, oh, this is going to be horrible. Like, this is not going to be a good show. But you just get on with it, and that's the adrenaline, and that's kind of the love for it. I feel like that's also a really hard thing that maybe people don't realise is actually quite hard. I don't know. Maybe that is something that's just me, but definitely that. Next question. My absolute biggest obstacle in theatre is learning lines. What's your best advice? Very good question. I use an app for this. It's called Memo Coach. I think I downloaded it when I did Footloose because I was a swing and I had so many different lines. And basically, you input the script and it covers up the lines that are yours. And you can do different things where sometimes the word at the start will be there, sometimes the word at the end, or like certain parts of it will be there. And you just go at your own pace and you learn it. And I find for me that is the quickest way to learn it. I don't necessarily struggle with lines, but if I'm trying to do it quickly, like if I've got an audition, that's the best way I find. Another thing, if you don't have the app, because I think it costs, you can just read the thing over and over. It's repetition. The more you do it, the more it will ingrain into your brain. Do it when you first wake up, do it when you first go to bed. I don't know what these hand movements are. Do it when you first wake up and do it when you go to bed, because that's when your brain will start to absorb it. And sleep helps you remember things. Run the lines with friends. But I think it's just practice. The more you do it, the easier it is. Find ways that suit you the best, and that's generally my advice for that. Next question. Hey, so I would like to start performing and I'm curious, how long does it take to get ready? This is a very good question. Depends on the show, depends on the makeup required, depends on the costume. When I did Footloose, that took me a long time because we had a lot of bright eyeshadow, just like general like 80s makeup, and it was quite big and we had like weird hairstyles. So I would generally always come in and do my makeup before warm up. So I'd get there about half an hour before our warm up time and I would do the base of my makeup and usually like my eyeshadow as much as I could. I'd leave my lipstick and stuff because I'd usually eat after. If it's like a really simple show, for example, Mamma Mia, the makeup in that is so minimal. I could literally do that at the half and be ready.
Absolute lies.
But I'd have to rush. It just depends on the show that you're in and the makeup that's required. Like if you've got to put false eyelashes on, that is going to take forever. And if you've got like a really heavy lipstick and you've got like a really difficult hairstyle, like it honestly just depends on the show, the costume and the makeup that you do. But very good question. Usually I would do a little bit before warm up and a little bit afterwards, just so I give myself enough time, because I'm very, very famously late to beginners. So just give yourself more time than you think you need. Next question. This is kind of singing as well, but I think it's a really good question. How do you practice your vocal technique and is it genetic based? First of all, no, not genetic based. I have two parents that are not musical in any way, although my dad used to be a choir boy. So maybe that did help. But no, neither of them are in the career or in the industry. I have just found that as a child, I didn't have any singing lessons. I just sang all the time, and I went to a Saturday school. I did extracurricular stuff. I was always singing in music. I loved singing to pop songs. I kind of learnt as I went and just imitated different pop artists. And when I saw shows and stuff, I'd aspire to be like those singers and things like that. It's just like finding a routine, like depending on the kind of singing that you want to do. It's just finding what works for you and understanding your voice and understanding how it works and the mechanics of it can really, really help. But no, I would just say like have a really good warm up that you do, practice it every day because it's like a muscle, like your voice is a muscle. And the more you practice, the more you work on it, the better it will get. It's not just something that can go, I can sing now. I think anybody can sing, but it's just practice, repetition, the same way that you would if you were learning to sprint or if you're learning to play football. Like it's all about drills. It's the same way like doing vocal exercises. It's the exact same thing, the same concept. So yeah, that's what I would say for that. Next question. What is important when you start working in a theatre as an actor/actress? Very good question, thank you. I would say the biggest thing is professionalism and consistency. I think being kind to everyone, not just the actors in your show, but also the backstage crew, the creatives, anybody else that gets involved with the show because they're working equally as hard as you are. And backstage, especially, don't get as much credit as they do as the actors because they're not seen, but they're working just as hard and they're doing just as much of a job as anybody else. And none of us could do what they do. I also think consistency is really good because for creatives and people in your cast, they want to know that they can rely on you as a team because a show is a team effort. And if you're kind of doing different things, like behaving in different ways, then people aren't necessarily going to find you reliable or find you kind of consistent, and that kind of can make people nervous. It can make people kind of not want to work with you again. So I think just finding like that professionalism and that consistency, which then helps people know how you work and also how you are on stage, because it all links. And I think just respecting that people do things differently. Every job that you work on, for example, for me, every job that I've done, everyone's process has been different. Directing process has been different. Creatively, everything has been slightly different depending on the type of show, where it is, what kind of stage we've got, the audience. So I think just respecting other people's process and like nobody's going to work in the same way that you do. But it's a very good question. Thank you very much for that one. Last question. Is it hard to play over and over a musical every night? So I did Mamma Mia. I think we did 5 shows a week on the ship, and then we did another show, which was our production show. So I got a little bit of relief. But we did 5 shows a week, which is not as much as you would in the West End or touring, but it's enough to kind of do it repetitively. And I would say it does come with its obstacles, not that it's hard, because I think the more you do it, the more you settle into it. But I think it's very hard to like not get in your own head about it. If something starts bothering you, like in the way that you perform, the way you sing, or the way you do something, I find it very difficult to get out of my own head and not criticize myself and go, oh, I need to fix this, and then not enjoy it. I think it's also hard to learn the nuances of it and learn where you can have a little bit more fun, but still kind of maintain the integrity of the show, because you don't change anything. Obviously, you keep the show as it is, but you can like play around with it and, you know, make some different choices. And depending on the audience, depending on which covers are on, depending on what day it is, depending on the time of the show, there's always a different energy. Like a show is never the same. So I would say no, it doesn't really get boring. I think because it's just something that I love doing. When I was doing Sophie on the ship, it was just such a rewarding role and I just loved it so much. I don't think I ever got tired of it. I think only if I was, you know, vocally tired or ill or was going through something personally and it was just kind of affecting it a little bit. But I don't get tired of it. No. Maybe that's just me, but I love it. Really hope this is helpful for you guys. Really good questions in there, so thanks for asking those. Some things I don't think I've ever been asked before, so I really had to think about that. If there's any other kind of Q&A videos you'd like me to do, please let me know in the comments and I will record it, because this has been really fun. I miss kind of chatty YouTube videos. I haven't done it for a long time. Subscribe to me and follow me on Instagram and TikTok. I think it'll be there. I hope it's there, pointing at it. And I hope this was useful. I hope this was helpful. Have a great day. See you later. Bye.